So let's just go into this VOD review, see what it was that really just allowed them to take this final game home. Obviously, if you're watching this now, spoilers, G2 won, but I mean, if you're watching it later. So again, Qlash decided to go into that Ari again. It's been a classic B1 pick just because of the amount of pressure it can have with the roaming potential around the map and the pick potential that it does have also. So we do see the Lissandra and the Vi come through. Very disgusting combo. If one manages to get that point and click CC, then it means that the other also does. When you're looking at kind of locking down ADCs and allowing Kaltis to go nuts, this is a really big core that you need to go with. So really, really important there. So again, we get the Sejuani come through. Showed in game 2 that Delica is very comfortable on her Sejuani, and this is really, really big. So then we see the Nautilus come through. Again, Kaisano really loving this Nautilus pick. Played it in most games today. And then we get the Zeri over for Kaltis, showing that she will play Zeri even if it is into the Nautilus, which a lot of people kind of see Nautilus as somewhat of a counter, but not too much. Now, Yasuo doesn't get picked with the Nautilus combo in this game due to the fact that the main reason it was picked was for the wind wall to get rid of the Seraphine ultimate, of course. But we do see the Lulu come through as predicted. Lulu Zeri is very good. They can do a lot of skirmishing in the early game, but then can also scale super hard as well and become very, very impactful later on into the game. We then see the Zeri come through to try and, the Xayah come through to try and kind of dispel this Lissandra and the Vi all in. But the issue that you have here is that Xayah will just do a massive amount more later. The set does come through, which just not a really good pick because, again, like G2 really want to go with the Ornn here with this Zeri, and by going the set, you just kind of you know that you're going to be going into the Ornn, so it's just really bad to go with that. You're just basically getting rid of it's just not a good blind to go here, to be honest. Now let's actually hop into the gameplay, because again, that's what really does matter in these kind of games. So again, 1-1, the pressure on a little bit, but we get double cull in bot. They're just looking to scale as much as possible. Obviously, they are respecting them quite heavily. If Nautilus does manage to get a hook, then it can be really awkward. One of the big things that I really like to see is that we do get a huge amount of pressure from this Nautilus Xayah, but it didn't quite do enough. So one of the big things here is like they respect them very heavily inside a bot, and this one thing that a lot of people don't do when they are playing things like the Zeri and the Lulu. They don't respect the super early aggressive picks, especially the Nautilus chose to go Ignite here, which instantly shows that they are going to be looking to fight. Now there will be an interview, so I will just pause the VOD review and let the interview continue playing. But yeah, obviously it's going to be with Kaltis. Really, really good performance from her today. Very consistent with carries. I mean, I wouldn't have minded seeing anybody from the side of G2 do an interview today, to be honest, because they all played extremely well in one way or another. But yeah, we see that the Sejuani coming into bot side. The reason why Vi chooses to path the reason why Vi chooses to do this pathing this game is because Zeri Lulu has a massive potential to be pushed in bot lane due to the fact that they do have a Xayah and a Nautilus. So what ends up happening here is if they... Oh, interview, one sec.
We are joined by special guest Countess. How are you feeling? You've been the winner. You are history maker. You're the Pathfinders 1 champion.
I'm happy.
I mean,
I think my team is more happy.
fair enough.
Yeah, your team indeed do look very happy. Stars your stream. Congratulations to all of you and great plays indeed. We've got a couple questions for the interview and then we'll let you go and celebrate with the rest of your team. Solari, do you want to kick us off with some of the questions?
Maybe for the very beginning, you know, before we go into the things and the happiness, can we go back to the second game of this series today, because something was not working for you as a team and for you as a I want to hear your thoughts, Kaltis. What was not clicking for G2 in the second game?
I think first of all our draft was really not ideal. We kind of didn't have any front line and it was just really hard to play in the later stages of the game.
Especially with that Yasuo.
But then we came back in the third game, so it's fine.
Yeah, for me, Countess, I feel like we've heard a lot about you, right? A lot of people hyping you up, a lot of people saying that they really respect you and even fear you a little bit in this tournament. You know, you're a very, very glorified player. I want to know, you're a person that you've played so many different champions, right? You played a load across the series in a different range of ADCs.
It does have a really good champ pool.
But what is your favorite ADC to truly play? Who has the
Twitch's favorite, she said already, right?
I mean, my favorite AD carry is probably, like right now, Zeri.
Okay, Zeri.
I think she's kind of easy to carry with. Other than that, Twitch,
I think the media she'd already said Twitch.
Caitlyn. Yeah, I don't know, I play a lot of champions.
I would have liked to see more Caitlyn, to be honest. I think it really fits what they want to do.
The flavor is of the month, you're kind of feeling it. Obviously, in your interview, in the video, it says that you loved playing Twitch. The Zeri popping off a lot, though, for you in these games. And it was great to watch, you know, it was great to watch indeed. And kind of going into game number 3, you kind of got the Zeri back. You had Ezreal in game 1. When you get that Zeri lock-in, are you just kind of feeling like, okay, this is my game to win, I basically can't lose? Or is it still like, you know what, there's a lot on the table?
I feel like when I get 3 items, we know we're gonna win. It's just the road to stalling the game to this point. And yeah, that's about it, really. I think I can carry most fights with Zeri in late game, since she's really strong right now with the new items. Like how do you even lose fights, you know?
I love
Solari,
it.
any final questions from you?
Yes, please, because you have a new addition to your roster. You have Sheena playing with you, and the announcement has been super recent prior to this tournament. How is the synergy going with the team?
I think Sheena played out of her mind.
Well, it's going good, since we won. But we're still working on a lot of things around communication and adapting the drafts to a new player. But overall, I think we're doing really good progress, and in the bootcamp as well, we've been improving a lot. So.
Well, indeed, you're improving loads and loads and loads. You are the winners of the Pathfinders 1. You have made history. You are the champions. You've claimed that crown. Do you have any final words, any shout-outs that you want to give before we let you go?
Thanks for the support. All fans and everything, yeah. Okay.
See, this is the thing, it's not really about the money and stuff, it's about literally the fact that there's was what 700 people watching this tournament earlier.
Thank you. Thanks for hosting.
Thank you.
Indeed. Okay, so let's say goodbye to Countess. Let's bring Soph Chan back into this. I believe we are going to magically make everyone reappear. Hello, Soph Chan.
I think that's
it. Back, and girls, that is it. We've done it. Pathfinders 1, it is done. We are over. Finito.
I'll just wait to see if there's anything else they say that's important, and then I'll continue with the VOD before we finish up.
To you guys, man. Unfortunate.
Qlash played really well. Like, honestly, they really did play really well.
A very, very nail-biter finish.
Especially again, they were the only ones that made G2 like bleed, which is super important.
Bring it in first. Take it away.
Of course, my final words have to be the congratulations for the winners, second place as well, and all the teams that have been playing throughout Pathfinders, ladies that competed in the qualifiers, that didn't make to the main event, ladies that did make to the main event, and even beat one of the invitational teams. Shout out to Pathfinders for doing that.
Fair enough.
And
I mean,
we
Pathfinders
have
did play well.
reached the wrap. And I think the big thanks has to be to all of you. Having worked with year 2 here on the screen, everyone in the production side of things, backhand has been incredible. And such special thanks to everyone watching in chat, because this really is to all of you, because we are here working for women in esports.
Indeed. And Solari, any final takeaways from you?
For me, it's also going to be a huge thank you to all the partner teams that were participating in this tournament, all the open team, qualifying teams, non-qualifying teams, but everybody who was participating in that. And huge thank you to just, individually the players, because they brought some really
and I mean, to be fair, like, it's one thing a tournament going for 10 hours, but like when you're playing for 10 hours, that's tough. That's hard.
No, it is indeed. Just
imagine playing solo queue for 10 hours, and that doesn't really have much impact on your career, obviously, especially if you're a pro. Whereas, if, like, tournaments like this, when you're trying to show that you're the best in your role, like, there's a lot of pressure.
So shout out to all of them. We also got to say one one last time. You guys at home can also be a winner. It's not just G2 Hell that can claim those trophies. If you want to get into that giveaway, !mark giveaway, or go onto Twitter and you can find it. That is Pathfinders EU. If you're looking for that Twitter, you can get a Nami or Ezreal statue. So make sure you get involved if you want to be in it to win it. Now, with that being said, a few thank yous have to go out there. Thank you to all the players, all of the teams for participating. Thank you to all of our production staff. They absolutely smurfed it. Benno, Pierre, Alex, Ash, all of you guys. Casual Cutie as well. Shout out, big love. If I miss any of you guys, it's because you're not on the Discord right now and it's really hard to read all of the names without you. But without you guys, there is literally no stream. So shout out, you absolutely smoked it today. Obviously, shout out to my two co-casters, Solari and Sobchan. And shout out to Rudu for stepping up and being in the production as well. So Alex and Brad also getting a shout out for the production. Don't worry, I don't miss you either. So with that being said, that has been Pathfinders number 1. We are done. Women's League of Legends is going and G2 are showing up. They managed to pick up the crown. They are now Queens of the Rift, and we'll see who can come back in potential Pathfinders 2. But for now, that is going to be it. That is all from us. So thank you very much for supporting, and we'll hopefully see you soon.
Awesome. Right, so let's finish up this VOD now. I mean, obviously you have to stay around for the thanks and stuff, obviously, especially when so many people have put so much work into this. Like, they've done really well. So yeah, let's just quickly let's just go over this this VOD. So again, like Alta said in that interview, one of the main things that you are looking for with Zeri is you're looking to get to that 3-item spike, and then you can kind of do a lot when you've got that. Like, obviously it's huge getting the Trinity Force and the Runans, but the Titanic is good as well because it gives you that massive HP pool that you can actually use to kind of do a lot. I mean, it's really, really important. So again, we see these kind of trades coming in for Sana. This is a thing with the Ornn, it can trade quite heavily into the set as well, which is really, really good. Again, we do see the G2 decide that they are just going to give away. Now, like I said in the live view, one of the things that Fnatic used to do is they used to play 3 scaling lanes, and they just used to look to scale. They'd give away objectives. Obviously objectives weren't worth as much at the time, but they'd give away the objectives and they'd just play to scale, play to their spikes, and then from there they would then look to just completely pop off. Now, this is somewhat what G2 decided to do in this game. Again, they're looking to get this Zeri to the point where she's really, really strong. We do actually see some big kind of CS leads coming through from the Zeri as well, obviously being able to farm from a very, very big distance due to Q. But yeah, so now again we see Qlash going for the Rift Herald, which again really, really important. And yeah, so like they do end up looking to try and snowball a game, or you know, get the game kind of rolling with that Herald. But again, you are playing against a ticking time bomb of the fact that you are playing into a Zeri that is going to be significantly stronger than your Xayah later on into the game, and she has its cleanse, she's gonna have Mikhail, she has so many tools to get away from the side of Qlash. Now, it is obviously very difficult to play into super hard scaling because you're the one that's forced to make the plays, you're the one that's forced to be proactive, and that's why it's really important inside of drafting to think. Now, this was actually an insane play from the side of Qlash. This was really, really good. What they did is they saw on this ward that the Lulu had started her recall earlier, and then from there, what they do is they wait. She drops flash Nautilus Q to get this Zeri, managed to full on kind of hit her. She does have to use ultimate, flash and cleanse, and then E to just about get away, and now this opens up the opportunity for Sejuani to start snowballing this Xayah and actually get the tower. So this was being able to punish something as minute as a desynchronized recall timer is so incredibly impressive. Like, it's something that many people don't really think of. They don't think, oh, I need to recall at the exact same time as my ADC just in case that happens, because again, if you don't have that vision, you don't actually see that that's a thing. So this is it was just a really impressive play here. This was actually really good as well. Kaisana really did come into her own in this game, to be honest. Like, walking up to this ward, they put this control here to force her to walk up close to it, and then they would jump on her as soon as she autos while she's locked in that animation. But instead, she decides to just get that ward down here instead. So again, really good spatial awareness to understand that, hey, they could potentially be in that brush and then can do a massive amount. Obviously, we did get a pause in there. unfortunate. But again, they do end up coming up and getting this second herald. Second herald obviously not as valuable as the first one since the turret plates are down, but they didn't really have much else. I would have liked to see the Sejuani just come and clear these camps here. Like there's like she's kind of walking down for temple, but like this is already gone. Like there's no way you can really stop this without like huge TPs. I think this TP from the Zyra as well was kind of bad. Defending a tier 1 like this, I mean, it's kind of rough in a way, especially because they'd already cleared the wave without them, so there was no real pressure that they were actually just going to dive them. And if they did try and dive them, they have Nautilus ult, they have Xayah R. I don't think they were in a diveable position right here, especially considering Xayah can stack her feathers off clearing the wave, and then if they come in, they're forced to come into multiple feathers, and it's just not really that good in general. So again, I do like the GT just backed away and went, okay, well, if you're going to TP for that, we're going to walk up, we're going to take this camp away, we're going to push a wave in, and we're just going to play around that. Ari played more for bot side just to kind of stay there and see if she could get anything, but unfortunately not. They do drop the herald here. You do have Kaltis and Lulu though. Once they have burned everything, they use Nautilus R, they use sorry, not Nautilus R, they use Sejuani R, they use Nautilus Hook. Because they've burned so much on this Lulu and she's not in a position where she can die, this now gives Kaltis the ability that she can just kind of run up and go crazy, pop her ultimate. We have an Ornn coming in from the back, which this was a TP, right? Yeah, so Ornn, we can see here, TP'd. I'm not sure where he TP'd to. Okay, he TP'd to a ward that was in the bottom brush. And then again just gets a really big ult to lock them down as much as possible. Doesn't actually manage to get it back. So one of the things with Ornn, sorry, that you have to be really careful of is this Sejuani with her Q. She knocked the Ornn up, and that meant that he couldn't redirect ult. Didn't really matter though, because Nautilus had been really forced out of position here, and now Kaltis is just free to kind of run them down however she wants. The set did come in with his TP as well, but again, the player's already been shut down, but they did look to kind of continuously fight here. Again, really good dodge from Colombo to get away from that Ari charm, and now this just gives them over the dragon, which again, this would have been the third dragon for the side of Qlash. They decide to just give it, and that's fine. This was a really bad pick. Like, you can't walk as Lulu into invisible areas like this, especially when you don't have any vision. She instantly gets one shot, and that means that Zeri does get this red buff stolen away by the Sejuani. Naut hooks it into Sejuani's smite, which is a cool interaction, but yeah. So here they look to just keep pushing this top tower. They just want to try and take this away. But again, the idea for G2 is to just try and stall this as much as they possibly can. And then from doing that, they end up in a really good position. Another pause, unfortunately. This one was slightly longer. But again, now we end up in a position where the Zeri can just kind of run them down really heavily. She has everything available and ultimate up, pops the ultimate, and then looks to, well, uses E just to kind of gap close a little bit there, but then starts trying to kind of run them down. Decides to back off, the tower is saved, and resets, and looks to come into mid. Now, what we do find here is we do have Zeri on this 2-item spike already, which is absolutely massive, and now because of this, you know, they're still looking to get to that third item, but they can look to start taking fights, start taking kind of skirmishes and go from there. And yeah, so this is huge. So this is another really big thing that they do. So Liliana is coming up here, but they do actually manage to get a really good catch on here. Vi Q comes in, and the Ornn manages to predict the ult. The flash from Kaisana manages to give that kill over to the Zeri, but that was a really good prediction. Let's watch that again. Again, just sitting in this brush. They're just waiting for them to come up. They think they're on the dragon, get a ward down, instantly VIQ. Zeri does use her ult straight away, and then that prediction for the flash, really big, because then we get the Vi ult coming in as follow-up CC, which is really impactful, because obviously already knocked up from the Ornn, and then the follow-up CC from the Vi just comes through. So really good in general. We do have a really long extended fight here, though, which, not sure if it was massively worth, but as G2 you're in a position where you are 5v4, so you can definitely go for this. Nautilus isn't that influential. We do get a really big set ult coming through here though, which does do a significant amount of damage, does kill the on off, but again if we look back here we can see that Kaltis is again being able to free hit. Now this is one thing that we did see it multiple times. Kaltis was allowed to just keep free hitting, and this one of the things that was very evident throughout the entire tournament is that there were a lot of situations where ADC was allowed to just keep doing damage and keep going wild, and that was really, really strong. So the Sejuani did actually manage to get the dragon away, which is unfortunate because it then pushes onto Soul Point. Even though G2 did manage to get multiple later on, it's fine. And now again, Kaltis just back here, just doing as much damage as she can, manages to use E to get over the wall. Nice W for the slow as well. And again, Vi does start charging Q to try and threat them going in, but Nautilus is here. There's no point over forcing here. So good advantage for the side of Qlash. But one thing that we notice is Ornn is respawning. His TP is up and ult isn't too far away either. That's how long this fight was. It was such an extended kind of fight to go for. And now what we find is that the they can continue this fight, especially considering Kaltis still has ultimate available, so can literally use ult and just kind of just run them down as much as possible and do a massive amount of damage. Kaisana unfortunately dies again, but unfortunately she went shallow over the wall, so don't get as much pressure on this tower. But again, not too bad. They get reset in and they look to potentially well, I mean, they can't really force Baron here. And if they do, it's super flip. Again, no need to. We have 2 items on the Zeri. No need to force for the Baron when we just need 1 more item. We have ornaments coming through now. We have the one on Ornn. We have Zeri's through as well. And again, they're just looking to get this scaling off and just be incredibly powerful. So, again, here they're just looking to scale as much as possible. We see the Tiamat and the Giant's Belt come through for the Zeri, so this gives her a lot more splash damage, but also gives her that huge amount of HP pull that she can use. Obviously we can see right now nearly, well, I mean 2,000 maybe like 2,700 HP on the Zeri. Oh, 2,665 actually. And so if you didn't know, one thing that you can do to calculate HP is this big black line means 1,000 HP, and then each small one means 100. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.5. That means 1,550 HP. So this is something that you can use if you want to just quickly see how much HP somebody that you're playing against has, and this can be really good for actually determining if you can kill them as well by your damage without having to click on them, look in the top, and kind of take away your concentration. So something else really good to see. Ornn comes through. Obviously this is why Zyra is picked, because the Ornn doesn't really have as much impact, and they do try and kind of continue this fight, but can't really do much on spaces away like this. And now they're in a position where they're going to walk up. I have to admit, the vision control from the side of Qlash this game was extremely good. Like, they had complete control over this Baron before they actually went for that fight, and now they're forcing G2 to kind of walk up. Thankfully for G2, they do have a front line, so Ornn can kind of walk up quite safely, but unfortunately Lulu does get caught, means that the ultimate has to be used for the Lulu. But again, Kaltis is in the back doing massive damage, has this HP, ease over the wall, has to flash after using ultimate, but gets ultimate on so many different people, and now just kind of melts through the entire team. Again, this is why this pick is so big, can just completely jump in and cause absolute havoc on this game. Manages to get a W, catches it on this area to try and kind of slow the Xayah. Unfortunately does back away, decides not to do the blue buff because the Baron is quite risky due to the fact that Ari could come and potentially do some kind of damage to them, potentially stop them, but again, they just instantly melt the Baron away, get that Baron advantage, and now, again, you're staring on the barrel of a gun with a Zeri that's fed on those 3 items. Now they want to look to fight as much as possible. But again, you confront back quite easy because you do have that Titanic now to do splash damage on the back. And again, with that much HP on Kaltis, nearly like over about 3,000 HP coming in on the Zeri now, it just means that you're pumping out so much damage, but you can also take a ton of damage. And we do see this slightly later on into the game, that she does end up taking massive amounts, especially when she gets that 4th item and she gets that Lord Dom's Regards. But yeah, Tifo trying to push this out. Unfortunately, can't push this. It's super low. And again, takes tower and pushes in really heavily. So again, now they're just looking to keep sieging. They get tier 1, 2 in both mid and bot side, which again, that's going to amplify their minions quite substantially since they've still got all tier 2s available. So they're actually going to get a massive advantage inside of the lane with minion buffs, which is going to help them push even easier. So now, again, 2 dragons at the moment for the side of G2, so they are going to want to look to just keep farming them. This was a really unfortunate fight for Kaltis, so she does somewhat get picked here, does get caught by the set and a large amount of damage into the ult, does try and get away, ease over the wall, a lot of damage coming from the Xayah though, and nearly kills all of them. But not quite. But for the fact that they have used everything on Kaltis now means that the rest of G2 can just kill the entire of Qlash off and kind of go from there. Now, one of the things that I maybe would have liked to see from Kaltis is, since you can get Vampiric Scepter here, which is huge value due to the fact you have so much splash damage, one thing I would have liked is maybe a stopwatch here. If a stopwatch had been purchased instead, which is a really good one item slot, even if you don't go into a GA, it would have potentially allowed us to stopwatch here, and then that would have allowed the rest of the team to come through, kill everybody. So maybe a slight itemizational mishap, but I mean, Vampiric does just heal so much on the Zeri, so maybe she wouldn't have survived that long if it wasn't for the Vampiric. So it is, you know, there's different angles that you can look at it at, so again, doesn't really matter too much, it's not massively relevant. But we do get that third dragon coming in for the side of G2, and that then leads them to go straight into the Baron. Lizia is just tanking everything like crazy. She is huge in this game. A big on ult coming through. Nobody can stop her with that on ult. And now the set ult does only catch one person. But again, at the back here, Kaltis doing absolute work. Gets another ult off, and then Lizia gets a massive on E to knock up pretty much the entire team. And then Kaltis just absolutely wipes everybody. So this is kind of the strength of this Zeri. And again, when you're playing into these kind of really big choke points, it's so hard to do anything when you are playing into things like the on. It just, again, everybody stacks up to a point that it's super hard to do anything, and that's how they won the game. So again, a really good tournament all round. I've said this multiple times. I think everybody from G2 really put in absolute work here. I don't think there's any weak pieces of this team. And yeah, so again, this was the entire of the Pathfinders content. If you've watched it all, I appreciate it, and I hope you enjoyed. And yeah, we will be leaving it there. So thanks for everybody that came to the stream and watched live. There was quite a few of you. I tried to go over as much kind of educational stuff as possible, whilst also, you know, keeping the hype of the tournament. But yep, thanks for everybody that came by. Thanks for everybody that potentially watches on YouTube. And yeah, hopefully they do another one of these. It was really fun. And yeah, I'll see you all next time.